we are the people that is the longest living culture that has been preserved. The Aboriginal people have protected country, culture and environment for thousands of years. The Indigenous people across the world see us as the first people of the first people.
It was a land where people could wander. We classified as nomad people. We roam from one place to another, knowing where their boundaries are, because there's tribes over there that speak a little bit of different language.
It's had a bit of a rough history, but in the last 50 years, Aboriginal people have become more independent and been able to utilise the resources to empower themselves.
Gold is gold. I mean, everybody wants it. Everybody likes it. I think it's the luster of the gold, the colour of gold.
The gold people, we've been chasing gold all our life. A lot of our old people that I lived with, they were passed on. They used to spec for gold, no detectors. They used to look on the ground, the gold used to sit on the top.
That's the story for tomorrow.
Okay. Very good.
Gold mining has played a pivotal role in the history of Australia. Much of that history has been based in the western part of the country, aptly named the Goldfields. In a region of nearly 1 million square kilometres of hot, dry land with a population of just 60,000 people, 10% of which are First Nation Aboriginal peoples, a ratio substantially higher than anywhere else in the state and most of the country. Welcome to the Goldfields of Western Australia. Daniel Tucker is the founder of local mining company, the Kerry Group.
My name's Daniel Tucker. I'm the managing director of the Kerry Group. For my generation, mining was in our blood. Spent my school days in Kalgoorlie. Every school holidays we used to go out bush prospecting with my grandfather, old Snowy Barnes, to go dry blowing with Dad. So nearly everybody in the goldfields have got a metal detector within their family somewhere. Looking at my parents and my grandparents, that sort of generation, I saw those old fellas, they worked. You just want to try and do what they did, but do more. Yeah, it was hard starting out. There were no Aboriginal companies operating in Australia. We had a vision, and that vision was to do something that wasn't done before.
My name is Stuart Bailey. I'm the Chief Corporate Affairs and Sustainability Officer at AngloGold Ashanti. Our roots in gold mining go back about 100 years. What we've long realized is that we need to develop those skills around the areas where the gold is. And if we go back to the late 90s, there were no Aboriginal mining contractors working in the Western Goldfields. AngloGold was instrumental in forging that partnership with Daniel and with Kerry Mining. It was good to have somebody who was familiar with the local operating context working alongside us. So it's very much a symbiotic relationship.
It's a different landscape now, but when we were doing this 30 years ago, the industry was saying, don't engage with Aboriginal people. They're going to take away your land. And to the credit of the people that we were working with, they stick their neck out as well. Because if it wasn't for AngloGold Ashanti, we wouldn't exist as a business. But we've been now working closely with AngloGold for nearly 30 years. Longest relationship with an Aboriginal business, working with a mining company continually, without a break. You won't find that anywhere else around Australia.
Gold mining has been in Australia since the 1850s, but First Nation peoples have had little involvement, despite the industry profiting from the land they first called their own. The Native Title Act of 1993 was a significant milestone in this history, where the country officially recognises native title land rights. Aubrey Lynch, an elder in the community, has spent a lifetime fighting to see the benefits of these rights for his people, and now advises AngloGold Ashanti on heritage and cultural awareness.
I going to remember that. I going to begin. I'm 87 years old. I born in 1937. With my upbringing, the government took me away in 1943. That's way back when I was a little kid. They called it 1905 Act. And that act covered everything in Australia. And that's saying to get all the part Aboriginal kids that's not like myself. I got a white father and a black mother. and sent them to a refuge where we have to obey rules and things like that. When native title was introduced, pulled up, and the question they was asking, where you come from? Where's your connection? Where you asking that question, you on my land. This is where I grew up. We had to prove what connection we got to our own land. It's unbelievable, you know?
Even before native title started, Unemployed been involved with that Aboriginal movement of, how do we get recognised and how do we get included. Every inch of Australia is now covered by native title claims. This is where my ancestors come from. This is where I've got connections to. And that caused developers to then engage with their local traditional people. All the stars was lining up and we kind of squeezed our way in to say, okay, let's make something of it. That created the opportunity for us to start up our business. And our business being started, as you look back in 30 years, the impact we had now on the landscape of Australia as Aboriginal people in business and Carey mining and Anglo Gold Ashanti in the gold industry, we made it happen.
My name's Andrea Maxey. I'm VP Investor Relations, Communication and ESG with Anglo Gold Ashanti. That contract enabled Carey Mining to develop its business expertise, grow its economic strength, and then take that economic strength and expertise and expand it to win other contracts. Not just initial economic empowerment, it creates opportunity for further growth and expansion beyond the gold mine. Carey Mining is a very good example of that. It's delivering huge benefit to Aboriginal communities and Aboriginal people.
My name is Chris Laylaw. I'm a lawyer by trade and then in the mining industry for 25 years. I've seen it myself, that gold creates wealth and the wealth creates profit. And profits create work employment, dividends, training, safety, technology, and enables people like Daniel and the Indigenous community to participate in the industry. And that has improved dramatically over the last 10 or 15 years because of guys like Daniel Tucker, who's led the way and showed that it can be done. In no small way, he's been part of the revolution that's taken place in federal legislation, which enables and provides for Aboriginal communities and people to improve their lot, basically. And that will be the legacy of gold.
Daniel has been a leading figure in mining for over 30 years now. With the assistance of Anglo Gold Ashanti, he has harnessed his influence to help other local First Nation peoples find careers in the industry. Robert Garlett is one of the many local workers who benefited from the Get Into Mining program, initiated by Daniel and the Carey Group.
My name is Robert Garlett. I'm a dump truck operator here at Sunrise Dam. The Get Into Mining program has enabled me to drive these big trucks. Always wanted to do it ever since I was young. Because it's so remote out here, have to fly in, fly out, do your 2 weeks stint, week of days, week of nights, and then back home to your families. If you're going down the pit, you're doing about average 12 loads a day. If you're going to the mini mines, your loads could go up to at least 30, 40 loads a day, even more. Yeah, you get to see beautiful sunsets, sunrises, you get to see Lake Carey in the background, pretty massive, goes all the way around. Yeah, working for an Anglo Gold Ashanti and Carey Mining, I absolutely love it. Come in, do my job, great supervisor, good salaries, with good lifestyle. Working for an Aboriginal-owned company is inspiring to other Aboriginal people as well, as it is for me. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Daniel's work in partnership with Anglo Gold Ashanti has also helped his wider First Nation peoples community through education, entrepreneurship, and prison rehabilitation.
My name's Bob Taylor. I am an Indigenous trainer for the Carey Training Group. way back in 2005. Daniel and the group decided we have to do something to give opportunities to the Aboriginal people. That's where the Seeds for Bindra program started. Since it started, we've had something like 350 participants come through the program. It had its teething problems, of course, where we had something like an 80% return to prison happening, but current stats show that it's reversed. We've got 80% of our participants not coming back through the system, and most of them have jobs now. A lot of the participants are young. They've brought up through their family lives sometimes without not knowing what's outside of that. That's why it's very important that when we start off our program, that we go back to culture, we reconnect to the land. Get a phone call now and again from guys who've got out and got jobs, and they say, hey, uncle, I just got my first pay packet. I'm taking my family, to here, to there. The highest accolade I ever got for doing this job was being recognised as an elder by the Bindra people. Bloody so proud.
We're very interested in making sure that that symbiotic relationship between an Aboriginal contractor and Anglo Gold Ashanti endures. Now, what that does for a company like Carry Mining is it provides the wherewithal to invest in people over the long term, to make sure that they have the appropriate skill to adapt to changing technologies, to changes in geology, to changes in the operating environment. The tenure of that contract that Carry has had with Anglo Gold has really been reflected in Daniel's work to develop his own people and his own business over time.
The significance of successful First Nation businesses is highlighted by Daniel's impacts and foresight, which extends well beyond the mine site, helping to educate future generations, creating better opportunities, and ensuring fair representation in the local economy. Gohar Rind, who received the Carey Scholarship, exemplifies this success.
I'm a Yamaji man from Midwest, from Buddy Maya Language Group. I run Yuriakini, a Indigenous cybersecurity company. Mentoring in the current environment for our community members is very important because we're able to pass on life lessons that we have learned. When our elders and ancestors have passed knowledge to us, it's mostly been in our Aboriginal world. When we learn about the new world, there are many lessons that we don't know. We learn them through mentoring from our elders, such as Daniel and others. The learnings we get from them about the business world and this world, those learnings will ensure that the following generations do not see the same struggles as us and are continuously building a better world where collectively we all are achieving success. It changes the life of not just one person, but the family and potentially the community. How we as Aboriginal people live is pretty much in a community sense. If there's some benefit to me, that benefit is then shared with my family and my community members. It's not solely upon me. That is the premise of being an Aboriginal person.
Daniel's success has had a ripple effect in the community, helping to inspire other business owners like Rowena Leslie.
We are at Currawang Aboriginal Christian Community. I am the owner and director of Cairo Contracting, which is a mining services company. I'm also the chair at Currawang. I grew up with family around about me, always talking about business. Where's the next contract? How can we win it? I guess this talk, it was always in the background and it probably infiltrated into my mind without realizing it. My sister and I started the mining services business that we run from our kitchen table. Slowly we built it up until finally one day we landed an awesome opportunity, which was at Anglo Gold Ashanti, the Tropicana project, where we supplied all their fuel distribution, their waste management and dust suppression and water. Having that contract with Anglo Gold, we also were able to grow our business with other industries. So it's been, a really exciting time for us.
This is the story of how gold mining companies can and should commit to enhancing the lives of the communities in which they mine. In this instance, how Anglo Gold Ashanti have provided opportunities to the First Nation peoples of Australia who have been living on the land since time began and suffered much hardship and injustice in recent history. It shows how business owners like Daniel can both create and capitalise on those opportunities, and then act as a catalyst for more change in his community, impacting everything from employment to rehabilitation, business to education, not just for the local community, but being an inspirational example of real change for First Nation peoples all around the world.
As we reflect on this relationship, what we're pleased with is that we were able to provide that longevity. But I think what's been even more gratifying for us is for him to trade that certainty and that commercial success into added engagement and upliftment in First Nations communities in Western Australia. Something that we're happy to have played a small part in, but credit goes to Daniel for taking that success and for giving back.
The legacy is he set the industry up to think about Aboriginal people, give them contracts. He opened the way for everybody. It's a credit to him. And we speak highly of Daniel because he's one of us anyway.
I use the word grit with Daniel. It's a modern world, but he had it then. Daniel's legacy, which I wonder if he thinks much about that. Probably not, I don't think. When they write the book about this in 50 years' time, there'll be a couple of paragraphs on that. Has to be, because he's that sort of guy.
He's enabled, across Australia, empowerment of First Nations people to take the same step, to set up a business for themselves, to consider something they may never have considered before. And that's had a massive flow-on effect.
So we find our First Nations people in business on all levels, in the capital cities around Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane and Perth. So that story from Sunrise Dam not only impacted other Aboriginal communities around Australia, it's also inspired First Nations people around the world, especially in North America and Canada. All because of what we did with Anglo Gold Ashanti and gold, and what gold did for us. So it was just the right timing of native title, Aboriginal people, mining companies, all wanting to do something together, and we've done what we did. And we changed the landscape of Australia.